everybody, it's Star the Flippin' Hippo. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel at Flippin' Hippos. Today is Tuesday, July 30th, and today I'm going to talk to you about something very, very exciting. At eBay Open 2019 in Las Vegas, eBay dropped some really good news on us. They're going to be instating some protections for sellers in the next coming months. For a long time, it seemed like the protections for buyers way outweighed the protections for the sellers. It was almost like the scales weren't balanced, that everything was weighed for the buyers. And while most buyers are genuinely good people, there are buyers out there who will absolutely try to scam or take advantage of a system that is geared to take their side all the time and not have protections for the sellers in place. Unfortunately, that is the way of the world. If bad people can get away with doing bad things, then bad people will do bad things. So the announcement came in one of the workshops. I do have all of the slides from that workshop. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and go through each slide, read it over with you, talk about what the two guys on stage talked about during the workshop, and then I have a little piece of blurb from I went to eBay for Business on Facebook, and they have an announcement there about the brand new things they announced at eBay Open, and I went to their website, so I'll share that with you guys as well, and we'll just kind of read it over together. In the description box, I'm going to put some links for you guys. You can go on your own time and read them over at your own leisure and do your own research after watching the video. I just want to let you guys know that I am super stoked and I'm very excited. But there's a little part of me that's almost kind of like, I'll believe it when I see it, because for so long things have been off balance. And we've heard before that they were going to put more implementations in place to protect us, and they didn't. But if they come through with everything they're saying, it's going to be great. My only concern is they may be pushing the scale too far in the other direction. By implementing all of these protections in place for sellers, they're kind of opening the gate now for bad sellers to do bad things. And I know it's hard to find a perfect balance, and for so long it was weighed for the buyers. Now they're trying to bring it back over and weigh it down for the sellers. There is going to be a lot of loopholes, a lot of gray areas, and unfortunately, again, bad people will do bad things if they can get away with it. So it is kind of leaving it open for, shady sellers to do shady things and make a bad name for all of us. Let's hope that doesn't happen. They're going to have systems in place to kind of track everything and keep track. I guess if you consistently report your item not as described as false, and you're consistently giving partial refunds back to your buyers all the time, maybe they'll look at you like, okay, he's abusing the system. But let's just hope that eventually we kind of find that balance, because there should be a balance. Absolutely, buyers should have protections, but so should we. So I'm going to go through these slides with you guys and the snippet from their webpage. It's just going to be very factual. I think I've already given you all of my actual opinion and thought on it. So let's just look at the slides, read through them, and I'll be back at the end. So here's the first slide of the slideshow at the workshop on seller protections. When you deliver on your service promises to deliver a good buying experience, we will protect you from abusive buying behavior and from events outside your control. We are partnering with you, says the next slide. When you deliver on your service promises, good things happen. So they're saying if you report abusive buyers, if you're courteous, offer retail standards, meet your service promise, then you will experience great buyer experiences, improved sales velocity. Abusive buyers are easier to find, and we are able to protect you better. Protections already exist. We provide protections when an item arrives late that you shipped on time, an item is returned after it was opened, used, or damaged when you offer free returns. You delivered on your service promises, but you received feedback or a defect that was not accurate. A buyer changed their order or demanded extras. And that one they went into details about. If they've already purchased an item and they've paid for it, and then they start demanding that you send it to a different address, or that you package it a certain way, or they want you to add something half off to the order, anything like that, you're allegedly protected against the negative feedback or any kind of defect. We have started improving the way we protect you from abusive buyers. A buyer is abusive when they claim the item wasn't as described to avoid paying return shipping, return items after using or damaging them, demand extras or changes to the order, bid for a reason other than to buy the item, request a refund without returning the item. Can I just repeat that last one more time? Request a refund without returning the item. That is considered abusive buyer behavior. I want to stress that very strongly with you guys. You know, one of my soapboxes I get up on is no partial refunds, no refunds when they don't return the item. I'm very adamant that a buyer must return an item to get a refund. And here it is in black and white from eBay. If they want their money back and they're not giving you the item back, that is actually considered abusive buyer behavior. So you are absolutely 1000% in your right to demand the item back before you refund the money. What we do to stop abuse. We've invested in an analytic and learning models to detect abuse. Investigate your reports of abuse and take action to protect you. Take action to stop abusive buyers by warning to stop bad activity, blocking from returning items, suspending their ability to buy or send messages. So what they want us all to do is to start reporting buyers when they exhibit those abusive behaviors we just talked about in the previous slide. But you have to report them correctly. For the analytic and learning models that they have in place, or the robots or computers, whatever you want to call them, they're going to comb through that information and they're going to be able to correlate that to abusive behavior. So if you're going to report buyers for doing something wrong, make sure that you are doing it correctly and reporting them absolutely only when they're being abusive, so that this analytic computer program they have can pick up on the information correctly. And then down here, these 3 take action to stop abusive buyers. They did talk about this. The first step they're going to do when they notice that a buyer is being reported an inordinate amount of times, or a buyer is being abusive, they're going to warn them. And one of the guys on the stage during the workshop kind of laughed and he said, I know, you guys are all like, oh, what does it do when you warn them? It's like a slap on the wrist. But he did say that in a lot of cases, buyers don't even know they're doing anything wrong. And I kind of can believe that. I think that some people are so used to being entitled or having that customer always right kind of mindset, or just getting away with things in life, that they don't understand that it's not right, or it's not the right thing to do. And he did say that sometimes warning them serves as like the first step of educating the buyer. So if they don't understand that what they're doing is incorrect and they're warned to stop it because it's wrong, then they're educated and now they won't do it anymore. I mean, is that always the case? Probably not. But there are probably some very entitled people out there who need to be told you can't act this way, and they'll stop. So the warning is like the first step. They will eventually block them from returning items if they exhibit a lot of abusive behaviors or keep getting reported. They're not going to block them from buying off of the platform, but they will not be allowed to open returns anymore. They will absolutely have to keep everything they buy, and if they continue after that, they will be suspending their accounts. They won't be allowed to buy or send messages anymore, and then they're going to remove all of the defects and negative feedback that these buyers have left historically across the board. So if they bought something from you 6 months ago and it's 6 months later and I report them for the last time, then they get banned or suspended. They would remove anything that happened to you from that buyer 6 months ago. So they're going to go back and historically remove defects and negative feedbacks from abusive buyers. I would also like to point out, because I don't think this is going to be in these slides anywhere, but in the general session on the first day, it was declared that they will also be blocking the ability during the return process when they're opening a case to go back and change their reason to item not as described to avoid paying the return shipping. So I guess the way it's set up right now, if a buyer is going in to open a return case and they say it doesn't fit, it's buyer's remorse, and they get to the point where it's showing they're paying for the return, they can back out all the way back to the beginning and choose something different to avoid paying it. Moving forward, when they implement the new system, they won't be able to do that. So if they're going through the return and they're being honest and they get to the point where they have to pay for the return and they don't want to, they're not going to be able to back out of the return and change the reason. They're going to be locked in at what they chose, or they just don't get to return it. Let's move to the next slide. Since the spring seller update, 220,000 feedback from abusive buyers has been removed, and 550,000 defects and open cases from abusive buyers have been removed. So they are trying to show us here that they're already trying to remove defects and negative feedback from abusive buyers. This is how they protect us from abusive buyers. Feedback and our reputation, they're going to protect that. They're going to pay more attention to open cases and service metrics. They're going to pay more attention to defects and standards. We're going to be able to do something about damaged returns moving forward. And most importantly, I think, is the false item not as described. I don't know about you guys, but we get false item not as described weekly for doesn't fit, for buyer's remorse, even with items with free returns on them, because they have been programmed for so long to item not as described to avoid paying the return label, that they do it even on free returns. So it will be really nice to start getting those removed and getting our shipping refunded, which is something they said they will do. Starting on October 1st, they're going to offer financial protections for return abuse. This is how you're going to qualify for this new protection. If you want to qualify for these new policies they're putting into place, you have to be a top-rated seller. Not top-rated plus, just top-rated. And you have to offer 30-day returns, be located in the USA, and you have to list on eBay.com. So it no longer just applies to those of us that offer free returns. If you offer returns of any kind for 30 days, even if the buyer pays the return, you will be protected, and you will be able to give out partial refunds when they return an item to you different than it was sent to them, or if it's damaged, or if it was new and they opened the box. But as long as you're top rated, you have some kind of returns on your items, you're listing on eBay.com, and you're a US seller, you're going to qualify. They're going to have protection for items returned used or damaged. You will be able to give a partial refund and withhold up to 50%. They will automatically remove any feedback and defects. And you won't have to worry about the buyer, because they're going to take care of any issues. So if you refund them 50%, they get upset, they leave you bad feedback, that'll be removed. A defect's going to be removed if they did an item not as described on you. And then if they complain that they only got 50% of their money back and they want to escalate the case, you will never hear from the buyer. You will never see that case. You will never deal with them again. It's taken out of your hands. eBay's going to take over. If they deem that the buyer gets refunded, that's going to be on eBay, not you. Protection from false item not as described claims. So you need to immediately report the buyer when this happens. Moving forward, this is all going to be on the platform, on the Seller Hub. When you get a return and you go into the case to refund them, all of this is going to be right there for you. It's going to be as simple as pushing a radio button and typing out why you're reporting them. And you'll be able to do it all from the case. You can report them, do the partial refund, all of it. They're going to subsidize the return shipping cost up to $6 for any returns label method that works for you. So this means if you ship through eBay or you go outside of eBay, they're still going to refund you up to $6 for a false item not as described. So if you have buyer paid returns, they do a false INAD on you, you can file against them, report the buyer, you'll get the cost of your label back up to $6. If you go outside of eBay to pirate ship or any other platform, As long as you can supply that you paid for the label, they will refund you. And then they're going to also remove negative feedback, defects, and the open case from the service metrics, which will definitely help, because you know now everyone who has item not as described defects on their account has a certain percentage compared to their peers in the same category. And if you get very high, we're paying higher final value fees. And a lot of the upset with a lot of the sellers was the fact that a lot of those were false item not as described, or item not as described open for buyer's remorse so that they could avoid paying the shipping. And then you get all these defects and then you're paying higher fees, and that's just not fair. So this is meant to kind of avoid that and get those false ones removed, those defects removed, so that you're not paying higher fees for false reasons. How are you going to know that they're protecting you? Beginning in October, you're going to receive a monthly protection statement. It's going to have a summary of your top rated seller protections. It will actually show you, I know this is kind of tiny here, but this monthly protection statement is going to actually show you how many negative feedbacks you have had removed, how many defects you've had removed. It'll go into all kinds of details on everything that's been done to protect you. And then they did a true or false session in the screen, in the slideshow. True or false, reporting abusive buyers will increase the chances I will be protected. That's true. When you accurately report the buyers who violate the policy, it is going to help them find the buyers who are being abusive and to protect you. So again, that goes back to make sure that you're reporting them accurately so that their metric system can file that information properly. When a buyer sends me a question, I should block them and report them for abuse. False. I know sometimes we want to, sometimes we get those questions that are really irritating, but buyers do ask you questions, and when you respond quickly and professionally, that can help prevent problems down the road, and not only for you, but for eBay and their new protections from abuse. When a buyer demands something extra or to ship to a different address, I have to agree. That is 1000% false. I guess I didn't catch that screen. Look at that. But I know that's false. If they ask to ship to a different address, you have every right to cancel the order and ask them to change their address on PayPal to the proper address and repurchase. And you don't have to give in to anything extra that they want. These are things they should be asking you to agree to, or you should be coming to an agreement before they buy. A seller who claims all of their item not as described returns are false will get subsidies for all of them. False. They're going to protect us for false item not as described. When you make consistent averages for sellers of similar products. So again, they're trying to avoid going too far in the other direction and having abusive sellers just consistently claim every single one is false and reporting every single buyer to get their shipping back every single time. And I don't know that it may happen to one of us that we clearly have a false item not as described, and maybe they don't side with us, and that's going to be frustrating, but we have to kind of be a little forgiving in the beginning with this new seller protection program as they struggle to find out how to make that balance a perfect balance and not go too far in the direction of the sellers now being able to abuse the system. 1000% right now, many buyers abuse the system, but we don't want to go too far in the other direction. And I believe that's it, because there is Casey and Colleen and I at lunch. So that's the last slideshow, guys. Let's go over here and look at the piece I pulled from their website about the new seller protections. It says eBay announced considerable new actions they are taking with regard to seller protections. Our sellers have told us that we need to do more to have their backs when they do everything right, but something still goes wrong, said Wendy Jones, Senior Vice President, Global Operations. We're committed to making significant investments in protecting our sellers, and I'm delighted that today we're announcing these new protections. For top-rated sellers located in the U.S. and who offer 30-day returns, eBay is introducing two new financial protections. First, eBay will issue a seller invoice credit to cover return label costs if a buyer makes a false item that is described claim. Second, eBay will now allow these sellers to issue partial refunds for all items that are returned damaged. These protections will be live in the U.S. on October 1st, 2019. The company is also making it easier for all sellers to report buyers who violate eBay policies and has created a simple, clear set of consequences if something does go wrong. These protections are rolling out in the United States right now. So there you have it. That's exactly what they presented to us in the workshop and how they presented it to us. If you have any further questions or want to do further reading, like I said, I'll put the links down in the description box for you guys, and you can always leave a comment on this video down below if you have any questions for me. If I don't have the answer to a question, I will find the answer for you. You guys know that. If you want to get a hold of me a little bit faster than leaving a comment down there, join our Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. The link to join that is in the description box as well. Free to join. You can tag me anytime in there and ask questions. I'm a little bit quicker to respond on Facebook than I am on YouTube. I check in with the group every couple of hours. Do me a favor before you leave, smash that like button, guys. It does absolutely help the channel. It also helps this video get out there in front of more eyeballs, and the folks that didn't get out to eBay Open, this might be some information that they would like to see. So let's interact with the video and help more people see it. If you haven't already and you'd like to, please subscribe to our channel and help us feed a hungry hippo. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at Flippin' Hippos across all social media. Until next time, guys, have a good night. Go be productive and go make some money. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye.